All right, well, welcome world to our second broadcast, Occupy Live TV. My name is Pirate Mike. With me is the usual gang of intelligentsia, libertines and
You remind me
lawbreakers.
of a joke. You know how occupiers have sex? Intense.
Intense.
That sounds intense.
Well, you have to ask each occupier, but it does sound intense.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not going to use this whistle. I used it last week. Here.
See what happens when your kids get on the
It's time to have
grass.
announcements, isn't it?
Well, I wanted to announce the illustrious Bell Star and our friend Rob.
Hello, Bellstar.
Oh, I thought I was going to call you Bell. Hi, Rob. Rob's Pierre, we call our friend here.
Rob
Rob Spear. Thank you. Oh, yeah. Well, sorry about that.
Well, Bill, you're right. We do have some announcements to make. On Friday, we're going to have an action called Occupy the Billionaires. This will happen on March 1st. It will be a rally in Pacific Heights. Bill, didn't you hear about the guy Larry Ellison and some kind of deal about screwing the fishermen in San Francisco? Like we was going to go to the guy's house and bitch about it, right?
Well, yeah, he's going to get a whole pier at first. It was a really lush one at the bottom of Nob Hill there. And now they're talking about, well, he doesn't get that one, but he might get another one. The
Yeah.
crab fishermen have no place to go. The fishermen are going to get cut off because they want to have a pleasure little mall,
A regatta, yeah.
you know, and it's, oh, right, it's just for the World Cup.
Well, what
The
they
World Cup. Now, I like sailing,
America's
but isn't that a little bit extreme in these times? Shouldn't we be taking people out? Now, look, I had a friend once who was a PhD in criminology, said that all these people who are, you know, like especially teenagers who get into trouble, to put them on a ship and working together to make a vessel run and run smoothly is an experience that changes them all. So why are we doing it for what? To see who's got the biggest, the longest, anyway, Rob, you got something to say?
Sounds like they're just celebrating extravagance as usual.
Yeah.
Say the magic word and we'll share it.
Well, basically, once again, they want to displace established small businesses and independent workers to park their fancy billion-dollar yachts next to Castanolas and Pier 39 and whatnot and get their shop on while they blast around with all their advertisements on their sails, like this Ellison guy rocking around in his private helicopter following his two floating advertisements. But announcements, well, that's what we're doing.
Time to move on, my friend.
So, anyhow, on Monday, March 5th, we have an action called Occupy Muni, Round 2, between the rank-and-file disenfranchised bus drivers and their evil union management, who is dumping all their bread into political action councils to, you know, influence stuff. The stuff we're going to talk to Rob about, how this wealth, this capital, influences people's lives in a really bad way.
Well, it's the privatization of all of the things that we're supposed to have.
That's what they want to do. They want to sell a city function to a guy or
Yeah,
a group
the
of guys
electric
and women.
Listen, the Public Utilities Commission, they want to sell things, and now in Greece, like the Public Works, like the water pipes. Come on, people. The corporations have no power except the power of belief in them because they're nothing but pieces of paper and contracts and people with debt certificates. I'm going this one myself.
No. So in response to that type of money addictive idiocy, we're going to have a flash mob inside City Hall on Thursday, March 8th, in direct response to this.
March 8th is International Women's Day.
Cool, cool. And on the 10th, the women's group is having a march.
Right.
So that's cool.
With an after party, the first
Yes.
OCU after party.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
You got to be there to find out the
Sparkly
party.
fingers. Sparkly fingers. Good approval and direct response. that wraps it up for the announcements. That wraps it up for the announcements. And, you know, a lot of what's happening in San Francisco right now has everything to do with the inequality of wealth and the distribution of money in this town. I wanted to talk to Rob a little bit about Bell's thing with J.P. Morgan and this Larry Ellison thing.
Well,
Like, what type of capital structures do you think started?
I think first we should go to Rob for his information that will funnel right into what you're asking me to talk about.
Okay, so let's
Well,
flip it.
Well, this week is like any other week
have the
here.
whistle.
All right.
The money oligarchy is once again, and still actually, leading the country. They've sold us on this bogus fiat currency that's never ever succeeded. It's always failed every time they've tried it throughout history. And these oligarchs like Mr. Ellis and the Rothschild banking family, who constantly fund both sides of any skirmish so that they can take the spoils by determining who wins through who they lend the most money.
Do you think that's what's happening with the corporations and the nonprofit corporations, both being capitalized in order to create the same kind of situation?
It's happening across the board. It's just a matter of time before it becomes blanket, complete. Unless something's done, which I think that's what Occupy is here for.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And how do we prevent our own Larry Ellisons from popping up in the nonprofits? Because if nonprofits are tending towards corporatization, that means that the people involved, their nature, is trending in a capital manner. So,
well, it's more than a capital manner. The capital manner is the debt structure of what modern capitalism is based on. It's not the mercantilism of actual laissez-faire aspects to creating and being able to do business.
okay, so once again, we're talking about these billionaires compared to these independent fishermen who actually built San Francisco on the backs of their ancestors.
If they get a whole fleet, it's what you're asking about, the way that you asked it.
Well,
And the whole thing is how do you stay away from that? It's through what used to be called eleemosynary instincts. And those who, yes, those who were able by the grace of this great country to make such money would plow a hell of a lot of it back in because it's not possible anywhere else unless you play this game of transnational, multi-jurisdictional financial debt structure that buys up everything around you and promises to make you a slave. At which time, I guess it's time for me to talk about an actual way that I think that we can deal with this, and I call it the J.P. Morgan heist. And I want to solicit everybody's input for graphics. It's a coin shape. What we're thinking of is something a little larger that would be a 1-ounce silver medallion commemorative of Occupy. Now, besides the fact that it's sort of a Franklin Mint thing, but not, J.P. Morgan for over 10 years has held an artificial short and controlled the silver market. Silver should be far higher. In the past 2 weeks, the regulatory agency, the CME, Commodities Market Exchange, reduced their requirements on margin for silver. And J.P. Morgan now has a greater stranglehold over the price of silver, except if that silver is called to be used, to be purchased, whatever. And if we're making this medallion, we can take and make them crumble because they promise to give 16 or more times what they can deliver. That's the kind of shorting that they're talking about, the derivatives, the scandals, the gambling, the rest of it. And that, my friends, I think with a larger round medallion of Occupy with one of your graphics or with the input of all of us, as a keepsake and a way to break the banks, starting with J.P. Morgan.
Perhaps we could commemorate the 45-year anniversary of the first human being.
That's a great one.
That's a wonderful idea.
Ah, yes.
We
can have a
this.
naked woman on the coin. Or a naked couple, I suppose.
Or perhaps
Well,
a man meditating
A man
as
meditating.
the original picture.
Yeah.
Which is
Well,
third eye wide open.
But I always like the Occupy symbol of tents.
Yeah.
I think tents should be on.
Therein lies the series.
Well, exactly. Therein lies the appeal to all of you who might watch this piece, that you will submit through our website, occupylivetv@gmail.com, your designs or your desire to create a design. And if you're an artist, to go ahead and contact us at radicalartiste@gmail.com. Or you want to throw a brick or give us a lump of coal through the email. Anyway, moving along here, we have this whole thing about the repression and suppression of...
And as important as that is, I wanted to wrap up the J.P. Morgan with Rob was explaining to me exactly how that would affect the banks, how this small gesture, these people creating a coin, a commemorative medallion, as it were.
Whistle.
No, it's cellulose. How that would actually affect the larger structure, by putting these into the hands of so many people and turning them on to the real value of things.
Yeah, well, I think it goes to the point of, these bankers are committing frauds on a high crimes international scale. Death wouldn't come close to rectifying the damage that they've done.
Well, great.
And the only way to address these types of figures who seem to act with impunity out above the law is to actually get the law to reach them. Mm-hmm. Now, whether it's a legal law that man has made, or whether it's just a fundamental mathematical law that nature has made, if we buy enough silver, J.P. Morgan will crack. Mm-hmm. And when he crashes, he'll go down hard.
Yeah.
And at that point, I think it would be a key time, because then people would get it. They would know that things were wrong. These institutions, these financial institutions, don't seem omnipotent anymore. Yeah. They seem vulnerable. Mm-hmm. And then we'll break that shell, and we'll get in there and we'll realize that we can prosecute these people. We can take back all the gold that they stole with the 1933 Emergency Banking Act, when they illegalized gold. And so when they made money illegal and forced their cotton fiat on us, we can go after them and take back what they've stolen from us and from the people of the world, because IMF and the World Bank and the Rothschilds, and along with their minions, the Rockefellers and J.P. Morgans and the who knows what's over in France.
Samuel Chase.
Oh, yes, and Chase.
So it will truly be a heist.
Chase.
Heisting it back from the...
Chase, don't forget Solomon Chase, introduced the greenback, the first American fiat, and then was the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court when the constitutionality of fiat currency came into decision under the Supreme Court.
Jeez, so do you think there was a conflict of interest?
I have no idea, but he ruled anyway. And quite surprisingly, he ruled, I believe he dissented. There's something to that case. It's an interesting case. I urge everyone to look at the legal tender cases.
The idea is to reacquire the silver through the production of art.
Yes,
just like we can reacquire everything that humankind rightfully deserves,
I think so.
Reacquire
don't forget
everything,
silver
knowledge.
is a great biological metal.
Yeah.
It's antiseptic, it's antibacterial.
Oh, yeah.
So
Properties
there's
of
all
silver
kinds of things. They used to make silver knobs during the plague in order to...
It cured my wounds.